Hey Jen Max, welcome to Puerto Vallarta, Marina Vallarta specifically. I am here with Brent Lane, and he has a Gen X Facebook group and a TV show and a podcast, or lots of stuff. Maybe I just gave him a new role. We're going to be talking about living in Mexico for now, not forever. Maybe this is his forever place, maybe not, because he's gone through some other places, but let's go ahead and meet him right now and hear his backstory. So before he was in Mexico, what was he doing?
Well, hey, good to be here. Thank you, Brighton, for coming by and visiting beautiful Marina Vallarta. But yeah, maybe not forever. We'll have to think about that one a little bit. But it's right. Yeah, you're right. I've moved around a lot. So back in 2015, I was fortunate enough to retire at the youthful age of 45. After a lot of hard work, a little bit of luck, and a wife who was willing to leave her dream job back in Texas as an epidemiologist and travel the world. And we spent one full year literally doing that, traveling the world. We spent all of 2015 and part of 2016 just exploring the world, looking for possible destinations we would live, but mostly just enjoying our time after a lot of hard work back in the US. In 2016 is when we settled down, I use that in quotes, in Hanoi, Vietnam. Honestly, we had already been traveling for the full year like we talked about, and we had been to some difficult to travel countries. We had just spent a whole month in India, all across Africa, and my wife was feeling pretty worn. I was feeling pretty worn because traveling like that is like a full-time job sometimes. So we settled into Hanoi, Vietnam because one, they had longer visas at that time. My wife, being an epidemiologist, it's a great place for work. You don't want to necessarily search the world for the place with the diseases, but sometimes that is kind of good for your work. So we did live there for 2 years. I worked for a bit for a large company there, kind of consulting. But after 2 years, we realized that while we thought Hanoi was our forever home, it was a little too polluted in the winter there for us, being outdoor people. So we decided to pack it up, move on, spin the globe, and go to the next place sight unseen, kind of like Hanoi. And it's kind of our jam. It's like we got to Hanoi sight unseen. I hadn't even looked at a photo. That's kind of my deal. And then we just picked up all of our stuff, left Vietnam, and moved to Cartagena, Colombia. Sight unseen. I hadn't even seen a picture. We got to Cartagena, Colombia, and rented a place there. We never actually bought there. But soon after, we were contacted by House Hunters International, and they had never done an episode in Cartagena before. And they're like, oh my gosh, you guys and your story and the backstory of Hanoi. They're like, we're coming out. We're going to bring a film crew, and we're going to film you there. So they did a whole episode about us. It was their first and maybe still only one there. So that was really fun. But the funny part is, pretty much when we wrapped up filming for House Hunters International, we moved. We had to leave Cartagena just because Colombia was just a little bit difficult in terms of getting my visa there. We were running into some difficulties, and my lawyer was like, go explore more of the world. So one place we said we would probably never go was Mexico, because we're from Texas, specifically Austin. We're like, oh, that's too close to home. We can't go live in Mexico. But we were like, okay, well, we can get a 6-month visa at that time. Let's go explore it. So we moved to the Yucatan, to Merida. And again, you're going to get sick of me saying this, sight unseen. We arrived in Merida, and we quickly it was Christmas. It was enchanting, the lights, the people, it was beautiful. And so we settled in there pretty quick, ended up, buying 3 properties right away and making this big investment in Merida and the Yucatan. And so we spent about 2 years there, when mostly I realized Merida wasn't going to be my forever home. For me and for her, we're very outdoorsy, and there were no mountains. The ocean was 45 minutes away. I'm a professional scuba diver. I kind of need that ocean. And, it's very flat and very hot, and hot was okay, but it just wasn't going to be our forever home. And so during a pandemic in 2020, during extremely lockdown conditions in the Yucatan, we pack up all of our stuff. 4 a.m., breaking curfew, sorry. We weren't supposed to even be out. We ended up driving for 7 days across the entire country of Mexico, all the way from the west, all the way from the east to the west, to come to Puerto Vallarta, because a friend of mine said all the little check marks that you don't have from Merida, you're going to have in Puerto Vallarta. You're going to have the mountains, you're going to have the hiking trails, you're going to have the ocean and the scuba diving and motorcycling through mountains, and it's all right here. And so once again, sight unseen. I didn't even look at a photo. We come here, we rent for 1 year, and quickly figure out this could be our forever home. We've been here now a little over 5 years. and we love it. It's beautiful. You know, we have a lot of activities. One thing that we were missing was a lot of friends in our age group per se, because we had a lot of great older and younger friends, and they were wonderful, but we really were trying to find a community for Gen X, you know, our age group. And there wasn't one. And so I started it. So the joke is, and people ask me, why did you start it? I was like, well, my wife needed more friends. And so, she's not the biggest extrovert in the world, but I was like, yeah, I need more friends too in our age group. So I created Gen Expats Puerto Vallarta, or Gen Expats PV.
So we did meet Laura briefly, and she's working right now. So she is not retired. I don't think she's even almost retired. And we're gonna see her later on in the episode real briefly when we pop into her office as we do a tour of their home here. And the view here is just amazing from both sides of their condo. But let's continue with that Gen X Facebook group, because I love that idea of kind of like that's what this channel somewhat caters to, is those people that are in that in between. There's so many young travelers like Tangerine Travelers. Tangerine Travels was around when I started this, and then older like Jerry from over in Ajijic. So there's a lot of older people too. So I'm trying to hit that niche of the middle also. So let's see what it's like here with a Facebook group in Puerto Vallarta, catering to this age range.
So let me tell you a little bit about the Gen Expats PV group. So I started it just over 3 years ago. And of course, we started from nothing. I had an event at one of the local places called Whiskey Kitchen. The owner's a great friend of mine. And we had 7 of us there at the table for that event. And that was the whole group. And I said, all these Facebook groups here, everybody takes the obligatory picture of everybody eating or looking away and nobody's paying attention. And one of the mottos of the Gen X Pats group, and you'll see it in the title, it's like the most kick-ass group in Puerto Vallarta. And I told everybody sitting at the table, let's take the most kick-ass photo and make sure we're all looking at the camera and we all look like we're having a great time. And everybody did, and we did the big cheers, and all of a sudden our group grew 200 people the next day. 200 more. And now we have about 3 years later, we have about 6,000 members, and it's an active group. We do a lot of events. Most of the events are for a charity or some kind of way to locally give back. But we also do fun things like movie theme events where we take 64 movies and we vote them down to the best movie in the 80s. And then we have a beachfront movie night showing Ferris Bueller's Day Off and all these prizes and things for charity. So Gen Expats has really been great. It's really given me that purpose you need sometimes when you retire young, or when you retire and you're like, I'm missing something in my life. And that really got me on the map in Puerto Vallarta. And then comes television.
So I love that. Actually, I've been thinking about renaming my group. I call it Almost Retired in Mexico. We meet every Sunday in La Paz if I'm in town. I'm not in town right now. We're actually meeting tonight here in Puerto Vallarta. But I was thinking about renaming it Gen Mex, because that's what I call you guys, is my Gen Mexers, and just kind of rebranding a little bit in involving some more people. But of course, if you're thinking about coming through La Paz, be sure to check out the Almost Retired in Mexico Facebook group, and you'll see what's going on in terms of my events, and we'll be able to meet in person. That would be wonderful to meet you in person. So let's go back to Brent. You can see he's very comfortable on camera, and there's a reason for that. So let's go into that reason.
I didn't do television, radio, or film as my career, but that was my university degree. So I was a radio, television, film major. I was doing TV news in college. I had some big stories, which was kind of cool, and I was doing the radio. But then I ended up going a different direction and got recruited by what was to become a very, very large technology company. So I spent most of my career in high-level IT sales, but I never really got to do my passion, which was, TV. And again, my bingo card never said, a spot for TV anchor in Mexico. I never saw that coming. But because Gen X Pats got me noticed and a few people started to see me, I got approached by the CPS, not CBS, but CPS Media, who had a radio show. And they were like, hey, do you want to be a guest on the radio show? We've heard about your group and it seems really interesting. So Jesse Ruiz, who also happens to be my co-host on television, came to me and said, oh, hey, we'd like you to come in and do a guest spot. And real quickly after we started talking, she's like, how would you like to co-host the whole show? So it really started with radio, and we were doing a 2 hour, we did a 2 hour long show every Saturday from 11 to 1 called Asphalt Radio, which is the only English radio show here. And I co-hosted that for about a year or so. And then, it was in the middle of the day on a Saturday, so that wasn't going to work for me long term, given all the activities I like to do. But then Jesse and I sat down one day and said, You know what this area is missing? It's missing the ability for people who don't speak Spanish fluently to know what's really going on. There was no outlet for real news. Facebook was here and you'd get some news, and the local Spanish news sometimes was a little bit inflammatory about the stories and the translations weren't great. So you're like, all right, let's create a 1 hour long television news program that's going to be very Western style. And we created CPS News with Jesse and Brent, and I created the moniker, the news that speaks your language, because it was more than it was in English. It was just the news that you were used to in the format that you're used to back home. So now, every Monday night from 7 to 8 p.m., there's television news here. Jesse and I anchor it. It's been going for a little over 2 years now, and we really do cover all the real news. Sometimes to my dad's fear, he's like, oh my gosh, should you be covering that story? Is that okay? And I was like, you know, Dad, and even my wife says this, she's at the end of the day, it's the same stories that are covered on the Spanish news, because it is the real news that's going on. And it's not always great. A lot of times it is. But I feel like anybody who I would never be concerned with would be watching in Spanish anyways. They wouldn't be watching in English. But we do cover a lot of great stories, and we do have a decent sized viewership here, and I'm on TV. Like, it's crazy. I'm on Mexican TV every Monday night as a news anchor and YouTube. And so again, CPS News with Jesse and Brent. It's the only English language news here in this area.
Yeah, the show is great. I like it. And I'm guessing you'll like it because it is like a straight shooter show. You'll get some of the good news, some of the bad news, kind of like this channel. I like to be very honest with you guys. So that's what you're going to find. There will be a link down below. It is part of the CPS Noticias YouTube channel. So Brent has created a web page that gives you an easy way to get to those stories. So there'll be a link down below for that. But now we're going to shift gears and talk about where we are right now in the Marina, and also we'll get a tour of his place in a moment.
Moving across the entire country of Mexico and sight unseen again to Puerto Vallarta, we weren't really sure where we were going to end up. And our realtor at the time had indicated, you know, hey, it's during a pandemic. We don't know if we're bringing our furniture or not. He's like, hey, I've got a place in Marina Vallarta. And I don't know the Marina from Centro, from Versailles at the time. If you guys are interested, I think we can get you into a rental because we're coming so quickly. You've got 2 weeks. And so he did. He got us into a rental here in Marina Vallarta. Then I got here and I was like, wow, this is very developed. It's very Western. It's very clean. I mean, all these great things, but it didn't feel to me at that time, and things have changed since then. That didn't feel like Mexico to me at first. So I was kind of like, okay, well, this will be a temporary place for us. And then we'll look to move where we're used to living, which is in Centro. We're used to living right downtown everywhere we lived. Austin, Cartagena, Hanoi, etc. We always lived downtown. And so we've been here now. So spoiler alert, we've been here over 5 years. But what we've come to realize now that we've bought here is that we really made Marina our home. It is different. I get that. But we've lived hard. You know, it's like everybody's like, oh, the infrastructure's so great in the Marina. It's like, well, it's not really a bad thing. In Hanoi, our power was out almost every single day. No water for a week or two. No internet. Cartagena, exactly the same. Every time it stormed or rained, our rental literally became a pool, and then all the power went out. Over in Merida, when it stormed, water was literally pouring through our electrical outlets. So we've lived difficult. And now all of a sudden, you know, like a Cat 4 hurricane came last year, and I did watch out my window the entire city's power go, you know, all the way out. And ours just went blink, and it was fine. So why is this important? Sure. Is there a convenience piece of it? Absolutely. But again, because Laura works online, it's really important that she has power and internet and water, and she can get that work done because her job is back in the US. So being located in the Marina, which is between the airport and a naval base or two, really puts you on a great grid, and we've really enjoyed it. It's clean. A lot of the stories I report on TV, there's a lot of infrastructure problems here. Again, that's just part of the deal, and we're not subjected to a lot of that, and so we've kind of made Marina Vallarta our home. Is it our forever home? I don't know. I mean, what's been our forever home so far? Hardly anything. So, you know, all this could change. I don't know. We've established a community. We've established this life in the Marina, but who knows? You know, we could spin the globe again and go somewhere else sight unseen. Who knows?
So the reason I wanted to do this video was A, Brent is well connected here and so good on camera, but two, I wanted to present you with this idea that you can move to Mexico and you don't have to have it be the last place you ever live. He's been to many different countries that might have been the last place, but you can always change. You can always change your mind. You can rent, and it's very easy to change your mind, or you can buy, and it's not that difficult to change your mind. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer to sell, of course, but I want to make sure that the forever aspect of Mexico, or the forever aspect of your decision, isn't the hurdle that's holding you back from making that change and getting to Mexico. So now with that, I want to shift gears again and show you this place, because it is a gorgeous, gorgeous condo here in the Marina. And hopefully this will give you a little more inspiration for why you might want to move to Mexico.
So yeah, we moved in here, and after renting downstairs, we moved up a couple floors to the 10th, almost the top. And again, it check marked a few things for me. I see the mountains, I see the ocean, I see the marina, I can see whales out there. On the other side, we have this beautiful golf course view with a lake, and over there we get giant crocodiles almost every single day, and mangroves and lots of birds. And so it's just amazing what we have here. But the one thing we really wanted to do is the place needed an uplift. It's about 15, 16 years old. A lot of heavy, darker colors, which to me didn't scream like beach Mexico vibe. So we took it down and we took out everything from the floor up, because we learned a lot in Merida after redoing an entire house. So we did everything from floor tiles to ceiling, knocking out walls, moving everything, and really try to create a big open space for entertainment. Because when you go around this place with me, you're going to see this place is made for entertaining people, and we take advantage of it. So let's go look at it. So the first thing that you'll notice is we have a giant kitchen. The original kitchen wasn't anything like this. It was kind of in the corner and small with a mini fridge, but my wife and I kind of designed it in a way that we have this kitchen that is open to the entire space and huge, with lots of storage, with little cool little designs like these corrugated pieces. You'll notice that what you're not going to see much of, other than our kitchen table, is brown, because everything in here was brown. So everything is really light and bright, and then our accents we can do, with other splashes of color. So this is how the kitchen turned out. It looks nothing like any kitchen in this building, but we really like it, and I think the design was well. We have a great view out to my left with a few cruise ships. Okay, so my wife's pretty cool. Some of my buddies say she's kind of like one of the dudes, because she not only allowed this, but she actually loves it. So we have an entire arcade in our house. If you look over here, you'll see arcade and my studio. So we have an arcade through the house, lots of fun stuff there. We knocked out a wall here to make this nice little space. And then we had my wife had this genius idea of make it look like a wall instead of like doors. So we can actually close this off, and it looks like one continuous hidden wall room. So here's our bedroom and that other view I told you about. As you can see, everything's nice and light colored. And then we have this amazing view out back. No crocodiles right now, unfortunately, but we have a beautiful golf course, and sometimes we get amazing crocs and some really cool stuff. Originally, again, very dark, all that. This closet was custom made. You might have seen that. Maybe you'll see it coming out. But what we did was we ended up redoing the entire bathroom space. And so this is our bathroom. It looks nothing like it used to look. There used to be a giant closet in here. It was about this narrow, a single shower. So when you remodel from the ground up, as you wish, you get what you want the way you want it. And so we're really happy with how it turned out. We feel good about it. And yeah. So this is the office / Laura, our second bedrooms. This is where Laura works. You can come check this out. This is also where our guests go. So check it out.
So I know you agree with me that this is a gorgeous space, amazing view. I see 2 cruise ships right now, some amazing boats out in the marina, and the nice breeze is just coming through from one side to the other. But let's switch gears again, and we're going to talk about some of the things I normally talk about. Like the first thing is whether he speaks Spanish.
Whether I speak Spanish. Well, I think I speak Spanish more than the average gringo here in Puerto Vallarta because there is a lot of English here. So what I will say is some of my Spanish is much better per the situation I'm in. For example, I would say I'm fairly fluent on a TV set, which is not very usable other places. Also in restaurants, but it really depends on the situation. Am I fluent? No. Do I get by day to day? Yes. What am I using? I'm using Duolingo, but we paid for the upgrade version. So I use that every single day. I'm on a pretty massive streak, and that's really great for learning words and picking it up. But I think what's the most important part is we really focus on using Spanish here. We go into restaurants, we always interact in Spanish, and I'll say the waiters and the owners of restaurants, they really do appreciate it, and they're surprised by it, and they immediately are like, oh, you speak in Spanish? Oh, you speak Spanish? And then it becomes a very rapid conversation. But my wife speaks quite a bit. I'm medium, but getting better every day.
Yes, it seems like in Puerto Vallarta it'd be easy to get by without any Spanish, just because there's a lot of English spoken here. But I was actually surprised that there were a number of people. I went to the coffee shop this morning. I was speaking Spanish. Almost everyone else was speaking English. But some other places, actually the front desk, we were speaking Spanish. So it's definitely something that opens doors for you if you speak Spanish. That's usually my message to you: is learn some Spanish. Duolingo is great, especially for vocabulary. Using it is great just for learning to go beyond vocabulary and learning to adapt into everyday conversation. But let's see about safety. That's something that folks usually like to hear about, is whether or not Brent feels safe all the time here in Puerto Vallarta.
Well, I guess I'm the right person to ask since I'm on the news every single week and I report everything that happens here. Puerto Vallarta has the usual problems of like petty theft and crime of opportunity. So you do need to be aware of your stuff if you're going into a grocery store or Walmart, especially if you're a little bit older, you become a target. But overall, I would say Puerto Vallarta is one of the safest places we lived. I mean, Hanoi is probably the most because it's a communist country and very locked down in terms of like guns and what you can have access to. But overall, I would find Vallarta very safe. My wife feels safe coming home late at night if I'm not with her. Just using the usual caution that you would use anywhere you live. But overall, I would say Puerto Vallarta is extremely safe, probably one of the safer places in Mexico. I mean, Merida was also that way. Safety is not my number one reason why I live somewhere or why Laura and I picked something. Really, it was about the mountains and the ocean and all of that. If we wanted the most safe place in Mexico, we probably would have stayed in Merida. But this is probably, I would say, a pretty close second. So I would say Puerto Vallarta is amazingly safe. Lots of tourists here, and it just is very welcoming, and I would feel very comfortable here no matter who you are visiting.
So you all know that I love to end my videos with a tip that's special, just the one you're looking for. So let's see what Brent's tip is.
So my tip, I think we left the U.S. and became an expat or immigrant, whatever you want to call it, kind of before the game. Like back in 2015, everybody thought we were crazy. They're like, oh my gosh, what's happened? Why do you guys have to leave? And why would you do this? But realistically, I think we were just ahead of the game. But so the tips I have now might be more commonplace than they were back in 2015, 2016. People are like, how did you do that? I would say my biggest tips are this. Nothing has to be permanent. You can put your stuff in storage in the U.S. You might do like we did. We came back from Hanoi and we're like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe we put so much stuff in storage. Now we got to sell all of this. But you don't have to make anything your forever home right away. Spin the globe, find an interesting place, join the local Facebook groups or whatever groups are there, begin to get a lay of the land, because there were some Facebook groups we joined because there were some other countries we were going to move to, and the people there were like, oh, the government's in turmoil or something's going on, and it really helped direct us. But realistically, because we go sight unseen, I would say pack it up, get out there. If that isn't your forever home, just go to the next place. Just figure out, and you're going to find that it's always going to evolve what your needs are. Maybe your number one thing when you first leave is safety, and number two is infrastructure, but that might change. You might be like, no, I need mountains, and I need ocean, and I need view, and I don't need as much English. So just be comfortable with get somewhere, get a visa, if you need it, spend some time there, but also realize, stay small. Have that backpack you can throw on, spin the globe, find that next country, and maybe that's your forever home. But if you never find your ever home, that's amazing. You just keep going and keep exploring the world, and honestly doing something most people aren't going to do, might be a little afraid to do, but I'm hoping videos like this help you to not be so afraid to do it and just thrive in it. And it is pretty amazing. And people that visit us are like, I need to do this. What's the secret? There's not a lot of secrets, but there's a lot of tips.
So y'all know I love that message, is just do it. get out there, get motion, get some forward momentum going. And some links that'll help you out, I've got down below. I've got Brent's website where it lists the CPS Noticias, his episodes on there. I've also got his Gen X Facebook group, and I've got another Facebook group. If you're not Gen X and you want to join just an Expats Facebook group in Puerto Vallarta, I've got a link down to that down below. Otherwise, I've got more videos from Puerto Vallarta up here, or something that YouTube has chosen just for you down here. So from the marina in Puerto Vallarta, wish you were here. Hasta luego.